Listen to me. I don't care how many times you've fallen. I don't care what they said about you. I don't care if life knocked the wind out of you and you can't breathe right now. What matters is this: you rise again. Yeah, you got knocked down, so what? You're not the only one who's failed, who's lost, who's been betrayed, broken, forgotten. But what separates the great from the average isn't how many times they fall, it's how many times they get back up. You think champions don't fall? They do, but they rise again, every time. You thought that pain was punishment? No, that pain was preparation. That pain was pushing you, shaping you, molding you into the version of yourself that can handle the blessing on the other side. I've been homeless, I've been hopeless, but I got back up. Every time I thought I was done, I realized God wasn't done with me, and he's not done with you. You got breath in your lungs, and then you got purpose in your life. Don't stay down there in that depression. Don't settle in that failure, don't camp in that setback. You get up, you rise again. You rise again. They counted you out. Count yourself back in. You lost everything, then build it back stronger. You feel like quitting. That's when you push harder. Because the one thing life cannot take from you is your will to rise. You might have lost the job, the relationship, the money, the motivation, but you still got you. As long as you're still breathing, it ain't over. Rise again. You thought falling meant failure? That just because you messed up, you're done? Nah, that's not how this works. Falling is part of the process, not the end. It's the beginning of the rise. Everybody falls, every single one of us. The difference between the ones who make it and the ones who don't, it's not talent, it's not money, it's not connections. It's the decision to get back up when it hurts, when it's hard, when nobody's clapping for you, when it feels like nobody believes in you, not even you. You see, we've been lied to. We were taught that you fall, if you fail, if you mess up, that you should feel shame, that you should hide, that you're not worthy. But I came to tell somebody today, falling ain't failure. Staying down is. You can fall 1,000 times, and if you get up 1,001, you still win. The people you look up to, the ones changing the game, writing the books, building the businesses, winning the races, they fail more than you, harder than you, but they kept getting up again and again and again. You know what I realized? It's easy to win when everything's going your way. When the crowd is cheering, the money's flowing, and people are patting you on the back. That's not hard. But what defines your character is what you do after the fall. Do you stay down? Do you throw in the towel? Or do you wipe the blood off your face, spit out the dirt, stand up with shaky legs and say, I'm still here? You got dreams, right? Goals, something in your chest that keeps you up at night. But the moment life punches you in the mouth, you want to quit, you fall once and think that's it. Listen to me. The fall was just a test. That was the interview to see if you're ready for what's next. See, the fall exposes your mindset. It shows you who you really are. Anybody can be hyped when things are smooth, but are you still hungry after the stumble? Are you still committed after the crash? I remember when I was homeless. I didn't have a place to go. I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, watching other people chase their dream while I was stuck in survival mode. I fell hard, but I didn't stay there. Oh, I got up every single day and said, this ain't the end of me. This is where I start climbing. And yeah, it was ugly. It was painful. But I made a promise to myself. I will not stay down. You gotta understand, it's not about falling. It's about response. You wanna be great? Then expect to fall. Expect to mess up. Expect rejection, criticism, betrayal, exhaustion. That's the price. But when you fall, respond with fire, get back up like you got something to prove. Look that situation in the face and say, you hit me, but you didn't finish me. Some of you fell and never stood back up because you thought that moment defined you. But that was just a chapter, not the whole story. You stopped at failure, but God had more pages for your life. You just had to turn the page. But fear had you paralyzed. Regret had you stuck. Shame had you chained to the floor, and you believed the lie that you weren't good enough to rise again. Let me break that off you right now. You are not your fall. You are not your worst moment. You are not your mistake. You are the bounce back. You are the bounce back. You are the resilience. You are the fight. The fall was an invitation to rise stronger, wiser, deeper, more focused, more dangerous. The world doesn't need perfect. It needs real. It needs people who've been through the fire and came out forged. You're still here. That's proof enough that you got more in you. If you were finished, you wouldn't be breathing. But you are. So now it's time to stand up. I know your knees are shaking. I know the world is heavy, but you got to get up anyway. Because what's on the other side of this pain is purpose. What's on the other side of this fall is your legacy. What's on the other side of this embarrassment, this heartbreak, this failure is your greatness. So I don't care if you failed yesterday. I don't care if you failed this morning. I don't care if you failed 5 minutes ago. You get back up. You dig deep. You remember who you are. You remember what you came here to do, and you stand tall. Not because it's easy, but because you were built to rise. Pain doesn't mean God is punishing you. Pain doesn't mean life is against you. See, we've been conditioned to think that every time we hurt, it must be something wrong with us. That pain is a curse. That is unfair. That is unfair. But I came to tell you, pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. It's the fire that purifies. It's the grind that sharpens. The weight that builds your strength. You want the dream, but you don't want the pain that shapes you into the version of yourself who can handle it. You want the crown, but you don't want to bleed for it. You want purpose, but you want to skip the process. And I get it. Nobody likes to hurt. Nobody wakes up and says, let me go through some trauma today. But the truth is, the pain is necessary. The pain is what makes the victory worth it. The pain is what gives your success its weight, its meaning, its power. You think you're being punished because things aren't going your way, but in reality, life is training you. You're not being broken down to be destroyed. You're being broken down and be rebuilt stronger. Like a soldier in boot camp, like an athlete in the off season, life is conditioning you. It's exposing your weaknesses. It's building your endurance. It's making sure that when the opportunity comes, you don't fumble it. Some of y'all are crying in the middle of your pain, asking why it happened to you. Why did I have to go through this? Why me? And I get it. I asked the same thing when I was homeless. I asked the same thing when I failed over and over, when I lost people I loved, when I felt like everything was falling apart. But you know what I learned? The pain was preparing. The pain was pulling something out of me that comfort never could. I didn't become who I am today because everything went smooth. I became who I am because of the struggle, the sleepless nights, the days when I had no food, the times when I got told to no 100 times, the rejection, the silence, the heartbreak. That was my training ground. That was where I learned what I was made of. And some of you are in your training ground right now. You think you're buried, but you've been planned. You think it's punishment, but it's preparation. You're underground and it's dark and it's cold and nobody sees what you're doing. But guess what? That seed don't grow on the surface. It grows in silence. It grows in pressure. It grows in isolation. So while you're in that pain, while you're in that place where you feel forgotten, understand this, you're being developed. Nobody sees the roots, but everybody loves the fruit. Everybody wants your results, but they don't want your process. But if you embrace the process, if you lean into the pain, instead of running from it, you come out of it different. You come out refined. You come out dangerous. You come out prepared. You can't fake preparation. You can't fake strength. Either you've been through it or you haven't. And when life hits again, and trust me, it will, you'll be able to take the hit and keep moving because the last pain trained you for this one. Don't despise the pain. Study it. Learn from it. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What is this revealing in me that I need to confront? What weakness is being exposed so I can address it? Because real growth doesn't come from success. It comes from pressure. Diamonds don't form in peace. They form in fire and force and intensity. And if you want to be a diamond in this life, you better be willing to go through the pressure. So maybe you're in a season right now where everything hurts, where you're losing friends, losing sleep, losing confidence, where you're questioning your work, your value, your future. And I need you to understand, this isn't the end of you. It's the shaping of you, the molding. You're not dying, you're evolving. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. The pain is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to destroy you. It's meant to strip away the fear, the pride, the excuses. It's meant to toughen your skin and sharpen your focus. It's meant to clear out distractions and clarify your purpose. You're not in the fire to burn. You're in the fire to become the leader, to become the example. to become the version of yourself who doesn't break under pressure, but rises under pressure. Pain is the prerequisite to power. You don't get to skip that. But the good news is if you're in it, you're being trusted with something big. God doesn't waste pain. He uses it to prepare warriors, champions, leaders. So the next time it hurts, don't run, don't retreat, don't numb. Lean in, listen, grow through it, because that pain you're feeling today might be the very reason you succeed tomorrow. I know you've been through some stuff. I know there were moments you thought it was over. You gave your all, and life slapped you in the face. You took 2 steps forward and got pushed 5 steps back. And in that moment, it felt like a setback. It felt like failure. It felt like you were going in the wrong direction, like maybe all your effort was for nothing. But I came to tell you today, that setback wasn't a stop sign, it was a setup. That disappointment, that delay, that detour, it was never meant to end you. It was meant to shape you, mold you, position you for something greater. See, most people think when things don't go according to plan, the plan is ruined. But what if I told you the setback is part of the plan? What if that thing that broke you was exactly what you needed to rebuild yourself stronger? What if that closed door forced you to find a better one? What if losing that opportunity made room for the one that was actually aligned with your purpose? You see, I used to hate setbacks. I used to feel ashamed when I failed. I used to look at other people and wonder, why them, God? Why are they getting ahead while I'm still stuck? But I didn't realize that the setback was my teacher. That being knocked down was giving me a perspective that comfort never could. You don't grow on the mountaintop. You grow in the valley. Oh, you don't find your strength when everything's going your way. You find it when you hit the wall and you've got to decide whether to quit or climb. I've been knocked down plenty of time. Doors slammed in my face. Dreams that didn't happen the way I thought. People who walked away when I needed them most. And in every one of those moments, I had to make a choice. Do I stay bitter or do I get better? Do I give up or do I level up? And I realized I can't control the setback, but I can control the comeback. The most powerful people you know, they weren't born that way. They built themselves in the dark. They got forged in the fire. Every time light pushed them down, they rose back up smarter, sharper, more focused. They didn't let the setback define them. They used it. They flipped it. They looked at pain in the eye and said, thank you. Now watch what I do next. So maybe you're in a place right now where things feel like they're falling apart. You feel behind. You feel behind. You feel like you missed your shot. But I promise you, that pain is not in vain. That delay is not denied. The world may have written you off, but God has not. Life might have knocked you down, but it didn't knock you out. And if you got breath in your body, then you got another round in you. You got another play, another idea, another opportunity. Well, you've got to believe it. You got to start seeing setbacks differently. Stop calling it failure and start calling it feedback. Stop saying it's over and start saying it's on. The moment you shift your mindset, you shift your momentum. It's not about the fall, it's about the fall. It's about how you rise. It's about how you use what hurts you to fuel what heals you. It's about how you take that mess and turn it into a message. There are people watching you, people counting on you, and you think the setback disqualified you. No, the setback qualified you. It made you relatable. It made you relatable. It made you real. Now, when you speak, people listen because you've lived it. You didn't read about it. You didn't Google it. You walked through it. You cried through it. You bled through it. Bled through it, and you're still here. And you were never meant to stay in the setback. You were meant to rise from it. To look back and say, that didn't break me, it built me. To walk in the rooms that used to intimidate you and say, I belong here. Not in spite of what I went through, but because of it. The setback gave you something school never could. Life experience, inner strength, emotional resilience. And nobody can take that from you. So don't let this moment fool you. Don't let temporary defeat trick you into thinking you're finished. This isn't the end of your story. This is the tension before the breakthrough. This is the silence before the applause. This is the valley before the peak. It's not a dead end. It's a detour to something better. But here's the catch. The comeback isn't automatic. You've got to fight for it. You've got to decide that you're not staying down. That you're not letting this be your legacy. That you're going to rise up with purpose, with passion, with power. Or just tell my mom, you've got to say, I've come too far to let this be the end of me. I've been through too much to give up now. I didn't survive all that pain just to play small. So rise, not because it's easy, but because you were built for it. Because this comeback will be louder than the setback. Because this time you're not hoping. You know, you're not just surviving. You're ready to dominate. And the next time somebody sees you, they won't see the failure. They'll see the fighter. There's something I need you to understand deep in your bones. You weren't built to quit. You weren't built to fold, to give up, to tap out. That's not in your design. You were built to rise, built to overcome, built to get back up after the fall, to find strength in struggle, to stand tall in storms. You weren't put here to live average. You weren't created to live small, to shrink every time life turns up the heat. You were built different, built with purpose, built for pressure. You ever notice how some people go through hell and they come out stronger? You think that's luck? You think that's natural talent? No, it's because they made a decision, the decision not to quit. Because quitting is easy. Anybody can quit. Quitting don't take discipline. Quitting don't take courage. Quitting don't take heart. You know what takes heart? Getting back up every time you fail. Every time life says a no. Every time it hurts, it would be easier to walk away. The truth is, life is gonna test you. Life is gonna hit you so hard you forget how to breathe. Life will throw things at you that make you question your own worth. You'll have days when you wake up wondering if you got anything left. But I came to remind you, you do. Because if you were still breathing, if your heart is still beating, then you've still got more to give. There's more inside you. You just forgot how strong you are. You are built to run away from challenges. You were built to run through them, to confront the pain, to stand face to face with fear and say, I'm not today. You were built with endurance in your DNA, built with resilience in your spirit, built with a grind in your soul that the world can't take from you. I don't care what your past looks like. Don't care how many times you failed. I don't care how dark it got. You were not made to stay down. But you know what the enemy wants? He wants you to quit. Wants you to second guess yourself. Wants you to believe the lies that you're not good enough, smart enough, strong enough. Wants you to believe that what you're going through is proof that you're not meant for this. But that's a lie. The hardship is not evidence that you're weak. It's confirmation that you're in the fight. You're in the arena. You're still swinging. And as long as you're in the fight, you've got a shot to win. See, the problem is not that you fall. It's that you start believing you were meant to stay down. But I'm telling you, you were born for more than defeat. You were born with fire, with passion, with the ability to break through walls, climb out of pits, and rebuild from nothing. Look back at everything you've already survived. Every time you thought it was over and you're still here. Every time you wanted to quit and you did. That's not weakness, that's power. You were built to rise when others fall. You were built to keep going when others give up. You were built to show the world that just because you've been knocked down doesn't mean you're out. That your setbacks don't define you. Your comebacks do. Every scar on your body is proof that you chose to fight. You didn't quit. You stayed in the fire. And even when it burned, even when it broke you, you didn't back down. And maybe right now, you're in one of those moments. Maybe life's got his foot on your neck. Maybe you're tired, worn out, beat up. Maybe your dreams feel like they're slipping through your fingers, but this is where the rise began, right here. Not when it's easy, not when everything's perfect, but when you're at rock bottom and something inside you says, I can't go out like this. When the fire gets turned all the way up and you say, turn it higher, I'm not done. You've got to talk to yourself sometimes. Look in the mirror and remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself what you survived. Remind yourself why you started, because people will count you out. Life will push you to the edge. But as long as you know who you are, as long as you remember that quitting is not in your blood, nothing can stop you. You were built to rise. So take all the pain, all the rejection, all the failure, and turn it into fuel. Let it light something inside you. Let it remind you that pressure doesn't crush diamonds. It creates them. Let it remind you that you were not built to break. You were built to bend, to stretch, to grow, but not to quit. Let the world throw what it wants. Let the storm rage. Let the odds stack up. Because at the end of the day, they're going to look up and say, how did they survive all that? And the answer is simple. You were built for this. You're not finished. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not lost. You're rising, maybe slowly, maybe painfully, but you are rising. And the world better get ready, because when you come back stronger than ever, you look at the storm and think it's here to take you out. You hear the thunder, you see the lightning, you feel the weight of the wind pushing against you. And everything in you says, this is too much. But I came to tell you something. The storm is not here to destroy you. The storm is here to develop you, to shape you, to test what you say you believe, to see if the strength in your spirit matches the dreams in your heart. You see, we love calm. We love sunshine. We love when everything's going our way. But nothing grows in that comfort zone. No tree ever strengthened its roots when the sky was clear and the breeze was soft. Trees grow when the wind makes them sway, when the ground shakes beneath them, when the rain pounds the soil and forces the roots to dig deeper. And that's exactly what your storm is doing. It's not sent to bury you, it's sent to build you. Ever notice how the greatest people in history didn't rise in peace? They rose in pain. They rose in the storm. They were forged by fire. They didn't get handed greatness. They fought for it. They bled for it. They suffered, they cried, they lost, but they kept showing up. And that storm, the same one that should have knocked them down, became the very thing that gave them the voice, the message, the power to impact the world. That storm made them. And I know you're in one right now, and it hurts. And you feel like screaming. You feel like walking away from everything. Your faith is being tested. Your patience is running out. Your mind is tired. But I need you to hear me. This storm is not the end. It's the beginning of a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of you. You just haven't seen what it's doing beneath the surface. See, storms uncover things. They expose weak foundations. They shake everything not rooted deep. But that's a blessing, because the storm is revealing what needs fixing, what needs strengthening. It's showing you where you've depended too much on people who were never meant to carry your weight. It's stripping away distractions, false comforts, illusions of control, and it's forcing you to go deeper, to lean not on the surface, but on the source. When the storm comes, it doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't give you a warning. It just shows up. And your first instinct is to run. Too high. Too high. But what if this storm is not here to punish you, but to prepare you? What if it's meant to activate the potential inside you that would have stayed buried in peace? You don't find out who you are when everything is going right. You find out who you are when it all goes wrong. That's when the real you steps forward. You might feel broken right now, shaking, like everything you were building is being washed away. But let me remind you, sometimes God has to tear down the old structure to build a new one. Sometimes the storm is not coming to ruin you. It's coming to remove what's not meant for your next level. That relationship, that mindset, that comfort zone, gone. Why? Because it was holding you back. And the storm is pushing you forward. And I get it. You're tired of fighting, tired of trying. You want the storm to pass so you can breathe again. But listen to me, breathe now. Find your peace in the storm. Because if you only know how to be strong when it's easy, then you're not really strong. Real strength is standing tall when the winds are loud, when the skies are dark, and saying, I will not break. I will bend, I will sway, I will cry, but I will not break. You were made for this, built for it. Designed not just to survive the storm, but to thrive in it. Because when it passes, and it will pass, you'll be wiser, you'll be stronger, you'll be more focused. The things that used to shake you won't even move you anymore. The things that used to scare you will now fuel you. You'll walk into new rooms with confidence, you'll carry peace into chaos. And people will look at you and wonder how you made it. They'll ask how you held on, how you stayed calm, how you stayed faithful. And you'll smile because you'll know it was the storm that made you. So don't curse the wind, don't run from the rain, lean into it. Let it teach you, let it grow you, let it sharpen you. Because every storm has an end. Every storm breaks a vent. But who you become in the storm, that lasts forever. You don't rise after the storm. You rise in it. That's where strength is born. That's where leaders are formed. That's where warriors awaken. This storm may look like a curse, but it's actually the classroom. And when it's over, you won't be the same. You'll be better. So hold on. Keep walking. Keep believing. Because this storm, the very one you thought would destroy you, is actually the reason you'll rise like never before. You've got to understand this. Failure is not falling. Failure is not losing. Failure is not being broke. Failure is not making a mistake. That's not failure. The only time you actually fail in life The only time it becomes real is when you stop getting back up. As long as you rise one more time, you haven't failed. You fall. You've learned. You've grown. You've earned the right to keep pushing forward. The reason most people never reach their goals, never live out their purpose, is not because they weren't talented enough. It's not because they weren't gifted enough. It's because they gave up too soon. Life knocked them down and they didn't get back up. Life said, not today. And they said, okay. They let the setback become the ending instead of the setup. But you don't have to be one of those people. Listen to me. You are going to fall. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to try and mess up. You're going to give your best and still come up short sometimes. That's life. That's growth. That's real. But don't confuse the process with the outcome. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's over. Just because you failed once doesn't mean you are failure. Failure is an event, not a person. As long as you're still breathing, as long as there's fight in your chest, you got another round in you. People see champions and think it's about the wins. Nah, champions are not made in victory. They're made in defeat. So what you do when you're down that defines who you really are? What do you do when the crowd leaves? When nobody's clapping for you? When it feels like nobody believes in you, not even you. That's when you find out what you're made of. That's when the real ones keep going. The real ones rise again. The real ones say, this might be the worst day of my life, but I'm still here. And because I'm still here, I've still got a chance. Let me tell you something, I've been down. I've been broke. And I realized the power wasn't in never falling. The power was in getting back up again and again and again until the fall had no control over me anymore. Every time you get back up, you get stronger. Every time you refuse to quit, your mind gets tougher, your spirit gets bolder. Your dream gets clearer. You may not be where you want to be yet, but getting up puts you one step closer. You take one more swing, one more shot, one more rep. You wake up one more day and say, I ain't done yet. That's how you win. Not all at once, but by refusing to stay down. Every single time. Some of you are looking at your life and thinking, oh man, I failed too many times. No, you haven't. You just stop moving. Start again. Pick yourself up. Wipe off the shame. Shake off the doubt. And get back in the game. The fight ain't over. The dream ain't dead. You're still in this. But you've got to get back up. Nobody's coming to do it for you. Nobody's going to hand you victory. You got to decide that falling's not the final chapter. Just part of the story. I don't care if it's the 10th time. I don't care if it's the 5th time. You show up. You rise. You rise. Because success doesn't belong to the smartest or the strongest. It belongs to the most determined. The ones who refuse to quit. The ones who treat failure like feedback and defeat like training. The ones who say, yeah, I failed, but I'm still here. And because I'm still here, I'm still dangerous. I'm still dangerous. The greatest power you have is the power to choose again. Choose to keep going. Choose to fight. Choose to believe when everything in you wants to give up. And don't let people tell you what you can't do based on how many times you've fallen. Let them watch you rise again and again and again until the pattern of your life is not falling, but rising. Until they no longer see the fall, they just see the rise. So what's it going to be? You going to stay on the floor, or are you going to get up and remind life who you are? Are you going to live in fear of falling again? Or are you going to rise up and chase what's yours like you were never down in the first place? You've got to stop making comfort your goal and start making growth your mission. And real growth, it starts the moment you get up, not when things go your way. So get up, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are. You were never meant to live on the ground. You were built to rise. And the only way you lose is if you don't. You keep looking at your scars like there's something to be ashamed of, like they're reminders of your pain, your failure, breakdown. But I came to shift your mindset. Scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you survived. They are signs that you went through something. And instead of letting it kill you, you healed, you overcame. You kept walking when it hurt. You kept breathing when it burned. You kept breathing when it burned. You kept showing up when you had every reason to quit. A scar says, I made it. A scar says, I didn't fold. A scar says, yes, I was hurt, but now I'm stronger. And that's the thing about scars. You don't get them by doing nothing. You don't get them sitting on the sidelines. You don't get them by playing it safe. Scars are earned by warriors. They are the marks of fighters, people who were in the fire and came out the other side. Too many of you are trying to hide what you've been through. You're trying to pretend like your story is smooth, like you never struggled. But it's the struggle that made you. It's the wound that taught you how to fight. It's the pain that shaped your purpose. And that's God. That's a reminder that healing is possible. It's a badge of honor that says, life hit me, but I got back up. Some of you got scars from childhood, from growing up without love, without support, without safety. And you wear that pain like it's a chain. But I'm telling you, it's not a chain. It's a crown, because you're still here. You didn't let that pain define you. You're rewriting the story. You're building something better. And every scar you carry is a reminder that you've already broken generational curses just by standing tall. Some of you have scars from heartbreak, from relationships that tore you apart. You gave everything and it still wasn't enough. But look at you now, wiser, stronger. You know your worth. You know what love should feel like. That scar is not proof that you were weak. It's proof that you love with your whole heart, that you were brave enough to be vulnerable, that you were courageous enough to start again. Some of you have scars from your own decisions. You messed up. You took the wrong path. You failed. But failure is part of the journey. And the scar is not the problem. The scar is the lesson. The scar says, I learned something. The scar says, I won't make that mistake again. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to erase the past. You just have to grow from it, heal from it, keep walking in spite of it. You can't live your life trying to be spotless, trying to keep your story squeaky clean. That's not real. That's not real. That's not inspiring. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with pain, with truth, with raw, unfiltered stories of people who fell hard but got up even harder. That's what the world needs. Not a perfect you, but a real you, a scarred you, a battle-tested, fire-forged, unbreakable you. You see, scars don't make you ugly. They make you beautiful. Not because of how they look, but because of what they mean. They mean you refuse to stay broken. They mean you chose healing over bitterness. They mean you took your pain and used it as fuel. You didn't get stuck in your story. You turned your story into strength. That's the kind of beauty that doesn't fade. That's the kind of strength that doesn't waver. And let me tell you this, scars don't just speak to your past. They prepare you for your future. Because the same strength that helped you survive the last storm is going to carry you through the next one. You don't need to fear the next challenge because you've already proven that you're a survivor. You've already been through hell, and if you can heal from that, then you can handle whatever's coming next. So don't be ashamed of your scars. Wear them. Show them. Somebody needs to see that healing is possible. Somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody's going through the exact same battle, and your scar might be the thing that gives them hope. That says, if they made it, maybe I can too. You didn't just survive to stay silent. You didn't just heal to stay hidden. You were made to lead, to inspire, to shine a light for others still trapped in darkness. And your scars, those are your credentials. They prove you've been through it and came out stronger. They prove you didn't let your pain own you. You took ownership. You did the hard work. You rebuilt yourself. And now you're ready to help somebody else rise. So stop hiding. Stop minimizing what you've been through. That pain wasn't pointless. That journey wasn't for nothing. You didn't just go through it. You grew through it. You healed. You overcame. And every scar on your body and your heart is proof of that power. You're not broken. You're not damaged goods. You're living, breathing, undeniable proof that healing is real. Strength is possible and scars are beautiful. Every time life knocks you down and you get back up, you don't rise the same. You don't rise empty-handed. You don't rise with nothing. You rise with something that can't be bought in books, earned in schools, or handed down from somebody else. You rise with wisdom. Because real wisdom is forged in experience. It's born through struggle. You don't just get wise by reading quotes or watching motivational videos. You get wise when you've lived it, felt it, survived it, and come out on the other side with your eyes wide open. Whoa. See, when you rise again, after being broken, after being betrayed, after losing everything, you see life differently. You stop chasing the applause and start chasing purpose. You stop trying to prove your worth to people who were never clapping for you in the first place. Because the fall teaches you what matters. And when you rise, that wisdom becomes your compass. It starts guiding your steps. It changes the way you move, the way you speak, the way you show up in rooms. That's what pain does. If you let it, it doesn't just beat you up, it builds you up. If you don't let the pain make you bitter, it will make you better. It'll sharpen your eyes to spot the fake. It'll strengthen your heart to trust yourself again. It'll train your spirit to walk with confidence, even when the ground is shaky. That's the kind of wisdom you can't get in calm waters. You only get that by going through the storm and refusing to drown. You see, the first time you ride, maybe it's just survival. You're doing what you gotta do to keep breathing. But the next time, that second, third, fourth time you rise, now it's different. Now you're rising with insight. Now you're rising with clarity. Now you're rising with the kind of strength that only comes from having been down low. That's why rising again is more powerful than rising the first time. Because now you know what's real and what's not. Now you know who's for you and who's not. Now you know that if you survived it once, you can survive it again. And when this time, when you rise again, you don't just rise with energy, you rise with efficiency. You stop wasting time on distractions. You stop fighting battles that don't belong to you. You stop apologizing for wanting more out of life because your past taught you something. The fall taught you something. It taught you what you need. It taught you what hurts. It taught you what heals. And now you move differently. Now you move intentionally. Now you move with vision. That's why you should never be ashamed of falling. Don't be embarrassed by how far down you went. Don't hide the fact that you messed up, broke down, hit rock bottom. Because what you gain by rising again is more valuable than anything you lost. You lost comfort, but you gained courage. You lost approval, but you gained authenticity. You lost some people, but you gained yourself. And when you walk back into the room, when you show up to life again, you're not just another version of who you were before the fall. You're a new creature. You're a person with perspective. You've seen what it's like to have nothing, and now you know how to appreciate everything. You've seen what it's like to be counted out, and now you know how to count on yourself. That's wisdom. That's growth. That's the result of rising again. I'm not talking about getting back up just to repeat the same cycle. I'm talking about getting back up smarter, getting back up more aware, getting back up ready to move with purpose. Because pain without reflection is wasted. But pain plus reflection, that's power. That's wisdom. That's leadership. Oh, my boy. And the crazy part is, once you rise again with wisdom, people start noticing. They may not know what you went through, but they can feel something different. You speak with authority now. You walk with confidence now. You're not second guessing yourself anymore. You're not looking for permission to be great. You've already earned your stripes. You've already been through the fire. So now you move like someone who knows who they are. Not because someone told you, but because life showed you. So don't rush your comeback. Let the fall teach you. Let the silence speak to you. Let the loneliness train you. Let the disappointment shape your discernment. Because every time you rise again, you're not just standing, you're stepping forward with more truth, more purpose, more power than ever before. You're walking into new seasons, new opportunity, new platforms, and you're doing it wiser than you've ever been. This is what separates those who merely survive life and those who impact it. It's not just about bouncing back, it's about rising better, stronger, wiser. And when you carry wisdom, you can help others rise too. Because now you've got something to give that's real, that's earned, that's tested. Your words carry weight because your life backs them up. Too many of you feel like because you fell off, because you took a hit, because something didn't go the way you planned. Now you're starting over. Now you're back at square one. But let me correct that lie right now. You are not starting from scratch. You are not starting with nothing. You are starting from experience. You are starting from everything you've learned, everything you've overcome, and everything you've endured. Don't look at the reset as defeat. Don't call this failure. Call it what it is. A new beginning with the power of wisdom behind it. See, the first time you tried, maybe you didn't know what you were doing. Maybe you were guessing. Maybe you were going off of hope and dreams alone. But now you got something different. Now you got experience. That changes everything. That gives you an edge. You've got scars now. And those scars aren't signs of failure. They're signs of fight. They're signs that you've been through something and you didn't quit. So now when you move differently. You don't make the same mistakes. You don't trust the wrong people. You don't waste time in the same places. Why? Because you've seen what doesn't work. You felt what pain feels like. You've learned. You might not have all the answer. That's fine. But what you do have is momentum. You've been through seasons where you lost it all and you didn't die. You've been through nights where the world fell silent and you kept breathing. You've had moments when nobody saw you, clapped for you or called your name, and still you showed up. That's not nothing. That's strength. That's strength. That's evidence that you've been tested. And if you've been tested, then you're qualified to rise. Stop thinking you're back at the beginning. That's not how growth works. You're not who you were the first time. You're not who you were before the breakdown, the setback, the heartbreak. You've changed. You've evolved. You know more. You see clear. So this comeback is different. This round, it's personal. Because this time, you're not just fueled by ambition. You're fueled by awareness. Some of you needed that loss. You needed that rejection. You needed that pain. Because it taught you who you are. It taught you what mattered. It stripped away the noise. It removed the distraction. And now you're moving with purpose, not pressure. Now you're focused, not frantic. And focused backed by experience, that's unstoppable. So don't let shame creep in because you've had to restart. Don't let embarrassment stop you from stepping back in. Everyone who's ever made it, really made it, has failed, has fallen, has started again. The difference is they didn't throw away the lessons. They didn't act like they were empty-handed. They picked up everything the past gave them and carried it into the next chapter. You've got tools now. You've got clarity. You've got emotional strength. You've got spiritual grit. You've got perspective that can't be taught. It had to be lived. So why would you act like none of that counts? Why would you discount your journey? Just because the world didn't see doesn't mean it wasn't preparing you. Just because it doesn't look like success doesn't mean it wasn't shaping you. And I get it. You're tired. You thought you'd be further by now. You thought this would be easier. But here's the truth. If it was easy, it wouldn't build you. If you didn't fall, you wouldn't know how strong you are. If everything went your way, you'd be soft. And life ain't made for soft people. It's made for warriors. It's made for people who don't stay down. And that's who you are. You didn't come this far to let a reset define you. You didn't come this far to throw away everything you've earned. No. This next move, this next rise is going to be the strongest one yet. Because now you're not reaching blindly. You're building intentionally. You're using your past like a blueprint. You know what didn't work. You want. You know what you're willing to fight for now. And most importantly, you know what you're no longer willing to tolerate, so get up. So get up, not with strategy. Get up with your eyes open. Get up with your faith fired up. Get up with your heart anchored in the truth. You're not a beginner anymore. You're not green. You've been through the fire and the fire didn't burn you. It refined you. It gave you something deeper than success. It gave you identity. It gave you character. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from growth, from strength, from survival, from knowledge, from pain, from power. And if you bring all that with you into this next chapter, there's no way you lose. So don't hold back. Don't minimize your experience. Don't downplay what you've endured. Use it, build with it, move with it. Because the comeback isn't about where you were, it's about who you become. Every time you rise, you become a little harder to break. Every time you get back up when life knocks you down, you become more solid, more grounded, more unshakable. That's the thing about rising. It's not just about bouncing back. It's about building something in your soul that can't be moved. It's about becoming so rooted in purpose, so locked in on your calling, that no amount of storms can tear you down like they used to. Life is going to hit. It's going to push. It's going to test every part of who you are. That's not personal. That's life's way of revealing what you're made of. And the first time it happens, you might crack. You might bend. You might fall flat. But when you choose to rise anyway, even when it hurts, even when it's lonely, even when you're scared, you come back with a strength the world can't measure. That's the real victory. See, the world celebrates success, but it doesn't always understand the strength it took to rise from rock bottom. Nobody saw the tears. Nobody saw you wrestling with your thoughts at 3 a.m. Nobody saw you walking through silence, through rejection, through betrayal. But you know what it costs to get here. And that cost, that's your armor now. That's the foundation you build on. And when life tries to break you again, because it will, you don't break the same. You don't collapse the way you did before because now you remember, I've been here before. I felt this pain before. I've cried these tears before, and I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I still got vision. That's when you start to realize the power of the rise, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The rise doesn't just restore your body, it fortifies your soul. You become less reactive. You stop letting every little setback derail you. Stop questioning your worth just because something didn't go your way, because now, deep down, you know who you are. You've seen yourself in the dark and still chose to believe. You felt yourself break and still chose to rebuild. That's strength that can't be faked. That's power that can't be given, only earned. And here's what's crazy. People might think you've changed, like suddenly you're colder or tougher or more serious. But no, you're not cold. You're just not fragile anymore. You're not bitter. You're just no longer available for things that break your peace. You're not arrogant. You're just not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't align with your growth because you've earned your strength through real struggle and now you protect it. You know how many people give up after one hit, one loss, one failure? They fold because they thought the setback was the end of the road. But not you. You discovered that the setback was the setup. The pain was the preparation. The fall was the fuel. And when you got up, you didn't just return. You transformed. You came back wiser, sharper, tougher. And now the same thing that used to break you doesn't even shake you. You look back and realize I used to cry over things that don't even bother me anymore. I used to beg for things I now thank God didn't work out. I used to fear moments I now face with confidence. That's the proof that you've risen, not just physically, but internally. The strength isn't in what people see, it's in what you carry. That invisible armor that comes from healing, from growth, from not quitting. Every rise makes you harder to break because you're building emotional muscle. You're building mental toughness. You're developing a spiritual core that's rooted in something deeper than comfort. You've seen how painful life can be, and you still chose to believe. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. Because nothing can stop a person who has already survived the fire and found purpose in the ashes. The world doesn't know what to do with people like that. People who rise again and again. People who take failure as instruction, not identity. People who turn wounds into wisdom, pain into passion. And that's who